Hey everyone, welcome back to Earth Turtle. Today we will wrap up the dinosaur episodes. Today we'll be looking at the other Saurischian dinosaurs, the Theropods. Last episode we discussed the sauropodomorphs. We looked at the question, what were Saurischians? And then we answered, what were sauropodomorphs? Then we went through some examples of prosauropods and sauropods. So what are theropods? Theropods were small to gigantic Saurischian dinosaurs. They lived from the late Triassic to the present day. Most had strong hind limbs, which indicates that they were good at running, and the majority of theropods were carnivorous. We will use the same template to identify different dinosaurs. This template includes the genus and species name. It includes whether they lived during the early, middle, or late Triassic, Jurassic, or Cretaceous, and there's a stick figure for size reference. Let's start off by looking at theropods from the Triassic. Herrerasaurus was a dinosaur that ranged from 10 to 20 feet long. It is one of the most primitive dinosaurs and theropods. It had large back legs and serrated teeth for hunting. It lived during the late Triassic. Another late Triassic dinosaur was Eoraptor. Eoraptor was about 3 feet long and was another primitive dinosaur. The body plan of this dinosaur was small, agile, and energetic. Gogirasaurus was another late Triassic dinosaur. It ranged from 16 to 23 feet long. It is named after Gojira, or Godzilla. It was one of the largest predatory dinosaurs from this time. Let's move on to Jurassic theropods. Dilophosaurus lived during the early Jurassic. It was about 20 feet long. It was one of the few theropods known from this time. It had a slender and light build. Two parallel plate-like crests sat on top of its head. A popular idea among scientists for the usage of these crests were that they were used for mating displays. It lived in the modern United States. Cryolophosaurus also lived during the early Jurassic. It was around 22 feet long. It lived in what is now Antarctica, which had a much more manageable temperature back in the Jurassic. This dinosaur had a thin, sheet-like crest that curved upward and forward on its head. Megalosaurus measured at around 26 feet long. It lived in the Middle Jurassic. Megalosaurus is the first dinosaur recognized by science. In 1824, it was discovered in England. Even so, still not much is known about this dinosaur due to its poor fossil record. Allosaurus was a theropod that measured 28 feet long. It had a small head crest. It lived in the late Jurassic. It was one of the largest predators of its time and preyed on stegosaurs and other large dinosaurs. Compsognathus was a small theropod at around 3 feet long. Fossils were discovered in Germany and France. Relatives of this dinosaur had feathers, so it may have also had feathers. Its discovery in the mid-1800s changed perspectives of many on dinosaurs only being large in size. Archaeopteryx measured at around 12 inches long. It was discovered in Germany. Archaeopteryx is one of the most important fossils ever. It had long wing and tail feathers preserved in its fossil record, indicating it was a bird-like dinosaur. It was discovered 2 years after Darwin published On the Origin of Species. This fossil provided powerful support for the evolution of birds from dinosaurs. Spinosaurus lived in the Middle Cretaceous. It measured at around 49 feet long and is one of my favorite dinosaurs. The most famous specimen of Spinosaurus was destroyed in a World War II bombing. This dinosaur is known for its large sail on its back supported by spines. It had a long snout like a crocodile, and it may have also hunted like one. The tail may have also had a sail, which was used to propel itself through the water. It lived in northern Africa. Giganotosaurus lived in the late Cretaceous and measured at around 39 feet long. It had small horn-like projections in front of its eye. It lived in Argentina and most likely hunted large prey, such as Argentinosaurus. It may have had small spines running along its back. Carnotaurus was another theropod that lived in Argentina. It lived in the late Cretaceous and measured at around 30 feet long. This dinosaur had many notable features. First, it had a very short skull. It had prominent, thick, and blunt horns above its eyes. Its name means meat-eating bull, Small armor plates studded its body. Also, this dinosaur had very humorous, tiny front limbs. Gallimimus lived in the late Cretaceous and measured at around 20 feet long. It lived in what is now Mongolia. This dinosaur had large eye sockets, meaning it most likely had good vision. It also had a long, toothless beak. It had slender legs and a long tail, meaning that it was a fast runner. Its name means chicken mimic because the bones in its neck reminded scientists of the bones within a chicken neck. Velociraptor also lived in the late Cretaceous, measured at around 6 feet long and 3 feet tall, so its movie depictions are very wrong. It had long hands and an enlarged second toe and claw. It also lived in Mongolia. Quill knobs on arm bones confirmed that it had feathers. A famous specimen was found locked in battle with a Protoceratops. Tyrannosaurus rex is arguably the most famous dinosaur, measured at around 39 feet long and lived in the late Cretaceous. It was one of the largest terrestrial carnivores of all time and had a powerful bite force. Close relatives of the Tyrannosaurus rex had feathers, so the T-Rex may have also had feathers. It had short arms and 58 serrated teeth. It lived in what is now North America. So what happened to the theropods at the end of the Cretaceous? Most theropods died out as a result of the end of Cretaceous extinction event. Birds were the only survivors and are the only living dinosaurs today. The birds evolved from the theropod lineage. This is funny because birds evolved from lizard hip dinosaurs and not bird hip dinosaurs. And that is it for our discussion on dinosaurs. Join me in the next episode where we'll continue Earth's geological history by looking at the next period, the Paleogene. Thanks.